weeks ago, the driver announcement that we've all kent was coming for months finally happened. Ollie Bearman is going to be a Formula 1 driver for Haas in 2025. But how did he get to where he is now? After Bearman had a rather successful time in karting, he made the step up into single-seater racing in 2020, racing in the ADAC Formula 4 Championship with US Racing. And it was a decent campaign for him, finishing in the points in every race except for 3 of them, and he claimed 3 podium finishes across the season with 12 third-place finishes, and also a race win, which he claimed after starting second at the second race at the Hockenheim Ring, and going on to finish 7th in the Drivers' Championship, but in the Rookies' Championship he was a runner-up. He also did a few weekends of the Italian F4 Championship with the SAM team, competing at the Red Bull Ring in the middle of the season, and then doing the final 2 weekends of the season, which took place at Imola for the 2nd time that year, and then the finale, which was at Vallelunga. Despite only doing 3 race weekends, he still managed to finish the Drivers' Championship in 10th after scoring consistently and claiming a couple of podiums with a 2nd place finish and also a race win, which came as win the first race of the Vallelunga weekend. Italian and ADAC F4 is where Bearman would remain for 2021, this time racing with Van Amersfoort Racing. And this is the year where Falk would end up standing up and taking notice of the teenager. In ADAC, he scored in every single race bar the 3rd race at the Red Bull Ring. He claimed 5 wins in the first 7 races, as well as scoring a handful more podiums and 1 more race win across the rest of the season to tag the championship. Meanwhile, in Italian F4, straight domination is, I think, the best way to describe it, scoring in every race bar 2, and of the 20 races he scored points in, he stood on the podium in 16 of them. 11 of those 16 podiums were wins. 7 of them wins were in a row from race 2 at Misano to race 2 at Imola, winning races 3 and 1 of those respective weekends as well, while he clean swept Vallelunga in between them. The final 4 wins came at race 1 in the Red Bull Ring, and then the final 3 at the finale in Monza, winning all 3 races to close off a dominant season. He did a few runs of the GB3 Championship in 2021 as well, claiming a couple of podiums and a win, but he ended 2021 having won both the ADAC Formula 4 Championship and the Italian Formula 4 Championship in the same year, which is impressive. And this is when Ferrari came knocking, signing the 16-year-old up to their driver academy ahead of the 2022 racing season getting underway. He would do a few races of the Formula Regional Asia Series with Mumbai Falcons in the winter, where he did claim 1 podium finish, but his main focus of 2022 would be in the FIA Formula 3 Championship driving for Prema. His season started strong, claiming a podium in his first F3 race in the Bahrain sprint race, backing it up with a 6th place finish in the feature race as well. The next couple of runs at Imola and Barcelona were a bit shaky, no points in Imola while it was a non-score plus a 5th place in Barcelona. At his home race in Silverstone, he finished 9th in the sprint race, and then in the feature race it was a return to the podium as he claimed the 2nd podium of the season, as he claimed the 3rd place spot. The very next race was another non-score, but after that, from race 2 in Austria onwards, Ollie scored in every single race remaining, apart from both races in Zandvoort. Austria's feature race brought him another 3rd place finish, while in Spa he scored a double podium, another 3rd place in the feature race, but in the sprint race, that would give him his best result of the season, as he claimed his first race victory in Formula 3. His first and only race victory in Formula 3, actually. And that strike weekend in Spa, along with scoring some good points throughout the rest of the season that had happened, that meant that Ollie was now 2nd in the championship, just 1 point off leader Hadjar in what was proving to be a very close fight for the title. Failing to score in Zandvoort meant he slipped back to 4th heading into the final race weekend in Monza, but he was still in contention as he sat just 21 points off Martins in the lead, and with 39 still available, he could still win it. He finished 2nd in the sprint race to put him 10 points off the championship lead, heading into the final race of the season, which he'll be starting for 6th on the grid. Now that final race ended up no running to its full length after it was red flags with a few laps to go, and after the choice was made to not resume the race, it meant Bearman had finished 2nd in that race like he did in the sprint race, and that meant with Martins finishing in 4th place and then Maloney finished winning the race to jump him in the championship, he just missed out on the championship by 7 points, finishing up in 3rd. Despite the disappointment of missing the championship by so little, it had been a good season for him, and it's a good season that allowed him to have a promotion up to Formula 2 for 2023, still driving for Prema. The start of the season was a bit slow, scoring only twice in the first 6 races, but round 4 in Azerbaijan things really picked up. And by picked up, I mean he completely clean swept the weekend, going quickest in free practice before setting pole position in qualifying with wonky steering, and then winning the sprint race for 10th on the grid for his first F2 win, and then backing it up in the feature race for a win there on Sunday. He got everything except for the fastest lap in the feature race. He dominated the weekend. While Monaco was nothing spectacular, Bearman went on a solid run from Spain all the way through to the first race in Hungary, scoring points in every race as well as taking a third win of the season in Barcelona feature race and another podium finish with third place in the Hungary sprint. Fifth there the remainder of the season was a pretty bit up and down, but he took a fourth and final win of the season on Prema and Ferrari home turf at Monza in the feature race, allowing him to go on to finish the year in a strong 6th place. F2 is where the Brit would remain for 2024, again with Prema, and overall, hasn't been brilliant, I'm not gonna lie. He did get a win just recently in Austria, but overall it has not been a brilliant year for him, or Prema in general, honestly. But it doesn't really matter all that much because, first of all, Haas were already keen on him for 2025 anyways, but also because for team boss Ayao Komatsu, it mattered more to him what Bearman does in F1 machinery in FP1 sessions this year opposed to what he's been doing in F2. Him jumping in up at Ferrari back in Saudi Arabia also would have helped his case for Haas, jumping into the Ferrari F1 machinery rather last minute ahead of FP3 to replace Carlos Sainz, and despite the lack of F1 experience he had and the challenging nature of Jeddah, Bearman really impressed, qualifying P11 just missing out on the top 10 by a few hundredths of a second, and then going on to finish the race in an impressive 7th place. And of course doing that race means, well, he has his super license, so no need to worry about that. Though according to Komatsu, who has spoken quite highly of the 19-year-old, his Saudi weekend was not the dominating factor. Here's what the Japanese team principal said in an article for F1 after the announcement. Of course it was a good factor, but it wasn't the dominating factor. I already saw in Mexico and Abu Dhabi last year what he's capable of and how amazing it was to work with him. I was more impressed with that. We have the first-hand experience with him, including the end-of-season tests and more FP1 sessions. Seeing how he could jump into a Ferrari in FP3 in such a difficult track like Jeddah and perform how he did, it wasn't a total surprise knowing how he worked with us. It just gave us more confidence in him. We were almost restarting the team. We're improving and we have aspirations to be more competitive. We need someone dynamic, someone young, and someone who is talented but has a really good head on his shoulders. For me, Ollie's profile is the perfect match for where we are as a team and where we want to go. Komatsu continues to say a lot more praise about Ollie throughout the article, which I'll leave a link to in the description if you want to go ahead and read it for yourself and you haven't already, because I mean it did come out like, what, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago or something like that. But Komatsu and Haas clearly think very highly of the Brit, and I can understand why. And honestly, I think Haas is the right place for Ollie to be heading this year. Sure, Haas has had a bit of a rocky history with rookies, but this is a different Haas to now to what it was before. This is not Steiner's Haas now. It's a Haas team that's changing and evolving, and it's a team that by Haas standards, they're going really good for the moment. And I, for one, cannot wait to see how this pairing of Ollie Bearman and Haas works out and how he does once he joins the Formula 1 grid full-time in 2025. What's your thoughts on Ollie joining Haas? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new around here for more Formula 1 content. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.